Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about climate. Hurricane season is currently considered to be from June through November. And since 1851, there haven't been any Atlantic hurricanes during February. But in 1493, Christopher Columbus was almost killed by a February hurricane. These are his own words. Ye 9th of February, ye most violent tempests toss us about, and we must be prepared for ye worst. 10th of February, a terrible hurricane has burst upon us. We see our end before us. Ye Pinta is already wrecked, and we will be sure to perish. We are at ye most 4 days late from Azores, so near our aim. O God, thou dost chastise me. Ye 12th of February, it's all over. For 2 days and 2 nights I have not closed mine eyes, and remained awake on deck. I shall lock up ye logbook and ye box, for ye terrible moment has arrived. If ye storm has not abated by this evening, I shall throw ye box into ye sea, for we shall not survive ye night. Climate experts were incredulous that Columbus had hit a hurricane in February, because sea surface temperatures aren't warm enough during February now to support a hurricane. But Hurricane Alice in December 1954 and January 1955 changed their minds. Hurricane Alice formed on December 30th, 1954, and dissipated on January 6, 1955. Hurricane Alice had 90-mile-per-hour winds and took this track across the Virgin Islands. It was described on January 3, 1955, as being a freak hurricane. And after Hurricane Alice occurred in 1955, experts started believing Christopher Columbus's report from 1493. Hurricane Alice formed on December 30, 1954, which was one of the worst hurricane years on record in the United States. New England has not been hit by a major hurricane since 1954, but it was hit by 2 major hurricanes within 12 days that year. September 11, 1954, second hurricane in 12 days hits New England. Storm of 135 miles per hour shrieks into Rhode Island and Connecticut. And 12 days earlier was Hurricane Carol, which had 125-mile-per-hour winds and killed 48 people. Hurricane Carol tipped over the steeple of the Old North Church in Boston. And then in October of 1954, Hurricane Hazel was one of the most powerful storms of the 20th century. Hurricane Hazel ravaged the Atlantic coast of the United States, then went across Lake Ontario and became Canada's deadliest hurricane. More than 100 people around Toronto were killed by the storm surge coming off of Lake Ontario. 1954 was one of the most extreme years on record in the United States. On July 14, 1954, there was 95-degree weather from coast to coast, shown by these yellow dots. Illinois reached 115 degrees that day, and Kansas was 120 degrees. There was a large region over 110 degrees in the center of the country. 1954 was also one of the worst drought years in the United States, with severe or extreme drought from coast to coast. And then at the end of 1954, record Hurricane Alice formed on December 30th. Could you imagine the mass hysteria now if there was a hurricane on New Year's Eve? Climate scientists would declare 100% certainty that it couldn't have happened at lower CO2 levels. They would say that ocean temperatures are just too low that time of year to form a hurricane. And they also say that the oceans now are the hottest they've ever been. Christopher Columbus might have had a different opinion about that. But progressives have determined that Christopher Columbus was a terrorist, so I guess his opinion doesn't count anyway. History is no longer about what happened in the past, it's now about social justice. Visit Toto on the web at RealClimateScience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science and propaganda for a long time.